Welcome to all. Myself, Dr. Sanjay Agrawal. I am Associate Professor in Electrical Engineering, School of Engineering and Technology. Dear learner, on the previous lecture, I have discussed about the overhead distribution system. As you know, any power system consists of mainly three components, that is generation, transmission and distribution. Generation means where power is generated, and this power may be generated from the thermal power plant, from the nuclear power plant and maybe the hydropower plant. And after the generating of this power has to be transmitted with help of the transmission line. And after the receiving this electrical power at substation, this power has to be distributed to the consumer. That is called distribution system. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the mechanical design of overhead distribution line. That is overhead वितरण line का यांत्रिक design. So this particular topic covers the topic that is power distribution sector, which comes under the program Advanced Certificate in Power Distribution Management. And this course topic also covers the course Power Distribution System Basic, that is OEE 002, and this particular topic comes under the Certificate of Competency in Power Distribution. This particular program is for the technician. So this topic has been distributed in following component. That first of all we will discuss about the distribution line. Distribution line means suppose you have to transmit power from substation to the consumer. So this power is transmitted with help of the distribution line. How this transmission line is designed, we will discuss about this. Second, we will discuss about the classification of the voltage, like high voltage, what is a low voltage. Generally it is called ST and LT. Then we will also discuss about the type of the load. Type of load means how much load is there on the system. That means this load may be the commercial load, it may be the university load, that means institution load, and another load may be the suppose some load is commercial load, like whatever the load in the mall and shopping malls, like that. And then we will discuss about the electrical circuit configuration, how the power can be transmitted, like power can be transmitted with the single phase line, that means which have phase and neutral. Then this power can be transmitted with three phase, three wire that have R, Y and B. And another type of configuration that we can understand, that is three phase, four wire system. That means three phase, one phase is R phase, second is Y and third is B, and another wire that is coming in the fourth one, that is called neutral. And then we will discuss about the main component of overhead distribution line. That means if any line is designed, that line have some component. And what are those components? Those components may be the line supports. Line supports means what? How this distribution line is supported. That means this may be supported with the help of the wooden pole, with the help of the RCC poles and steel poles. Then we will discuss about the cross arm. What is a cross arm? And cross arm means where the conductor is placed on some support with help of the insulator. And then we will discuss about the type of the insulator. There are different type of insulator that we will discuss in this particular session, like pin type insulator, disc type insulator, cycle insulator and all that. So first of all, we have to understand what is distribution line. So distribution line can be classified as overhead line or underground line. The distribution line are usually overhead, but for the higher load densities in the cities or metropolitan areas, these are underground also. The choice between overhead and underground depends upon a number of different factors, like importance of the service community. Second is improvement in the appearance of the area. Third, feasibility in the congested area. And fourth one is a comparative annual maintenance feasibility. Cost, capital cost, safety and useful life of the system. Because we are talking about the two type of distribution, that is overhead and underground. So because the underground system is very costly, but it looks beautiful. There is a chances of the fault or failure is a very less in case of the underground system. But problem is the cost of such type of underground system is very high. So to optimize between overhead and underground distribution system, different factor has to be taken under consideration. Now, as you know, the different voltages, like it is generally said that power is generated at 11 kV or 450 volt or 6.6 kV. So this voltage may be classified as generation voltage, transmission voltage and distribution voltage. So generation voltage may be the 415 voltage, 6.6 kV, 10.5 kV, 11 kV, 13.8 kV, like that. The most voltage that is used for the generation at thermal power plant, that is 11 kV. And transmission voltage may be of the different rating. It may be of the 33 kV, 66 kV, 132 kV, 220 kV, 400 kV and 765 kV. That is a very highest transmission voltage. And on the previous lecture I have discussed why the transmission is done at very high voltage. The reason is, if you are transmitting the power at high voltage, that means you can reduce the losses, you can improve the transmission efficiency, you can regulate, you will have a good voltage regulation. So all these are the advantages why transmission is done at high voltage. And this high voltage primary distribution or sub-transmission can be classified on the basis of the voltage. If this voltage is 3.3 kV, 6.6 kV, 11 kV, 22 kV, 33 kV and 66 kV. Now we comes on the low voltage distribution phase. Low voltage distribution phase, that means whatever the voltage you are getting at your home, that is basically low voltage distribution phase. So suppose you are getting a 400 volt and this is 3-phase power. So this type of voltage 400 volt, generally it is used for the commercial purpose. That means it is for the industries, small industries, and the voltage that you are receiving at your home, that is a 230 volt, and this distribution voltage is basically single phase. That means this 230 voltage is a voltage between live wire and neutral. This live wire is also called phase. The higher voltage are used for the 3-phase 3-wire supply to the large consumer. And in case of the low voltage distribution of generally 400 volt and 3-phase 4-wire system are used. As I already told you that 3-phase 4-wire means, 3-phase means suppose there is a balance load. So balance load have a 3 phases. First one is a R, second is a Y and third is a V, and fourth wire is a neutral wire. So if there is a balance load, so balance load means all these 3 phases have equal load. That means if it is equal load, that means there is no current in the neutral wire. It will be discussed in the later stage also. And next is 230 volt single phase 2-wire phase to neutral system is used for the small and medium consumer. So suppose we are talking about your home or for the domestic purpose. So whatever the power you are getting, that power is coming at 230 voltage, and how much current is you are extracting from the system, it will be depend on the electrical load. Electrical load means different appliances that you are going to use in your home. The size and voltage of a supply to a consumer is decided by the load of consumer, as I already told you. So now we have to understand what are the different type of the load. These load can be classified according to the use, which are as follows. First is commercial load. Commercial load means what? It is applicable to the market, shopping center, multiplexes, malls, healthcare center, government offices. So all such type of load comes under the category of the commercial load. The second load, that is called industrial load. So as name is indicating industrial, that means if you are using this power for the industry purpose, that will be the industrial load. So this load is applicable to the factories of all types and manufacturing facility. So this type of load is called industrial load. Then next comes the agriculture load. Agriculture load means if electrical power is being used for the agriculture purpose or for the farming purpose, so such type of load is called agricultural load. That means you have to run the tube well, you have to run the different pump. So if this type of load are being used by the farmer, so this type of load is called agricultural load. Then next category comes the residential load. Residential load, independent house like us, we are using whatever the power at your home, that is comes under the residential category. Housing society, different housing society, multi-story building. So whether it is an independent house or different society or multi-story building, this type of load comes under the category of the residential load. Next load comes, that is institutional load. In institutional load, that means if you are using some electrical power for the research facilities, or you are using the electrical load in the school, colleges and university, so such type of load will be called institutional load. Now, because you have to install the low transmission or a low voltage transmission line or high voltage transmission line, that means if you want to install any low voltage transmission line, high voltage transmission line, so before the installation there are some points that you should be remember, or you should consider how to plan if you are going to install LT and ST transmission line or distribution line. So first is survey is carried out for the installation of the line. This is the most important point. Without survey you cannot install the LT or ST distribution line. Second is right of the way is assessed for the LT and ST lines. Then you have to take the clearance from the forest department, railways and municipal body. And last is route marking of the installation of the ST and LT lines. Because suppose you are going to install the ST line and LT line, and this power has to be transmit or from the one point to another point, and railway track is coming in between. That means you have to take the clearance from the railway, or you have to take the clearance from the municipal body. Now we have to understand what are the different electrical circuit configuration. In the diagram you can see here. So electrical distribution circuits are classified as single phase 2-wire system. In this system, one wire is connected to a live phase and another wire is connected to the line neutral. Electric power flows from phase to neutral for making the circuit complete. So whatever the power we are using at our home, that is a single phase wire. So whatever, suppose you are using any appliances, like you are using a refrigerator or you are using the television, so you are putting that socket in the plug in the socket, so that have a 2 pin. One is a phase pin, another is a neutral pin. If that is a 3-pin socket, so there is a 3 pin is there. One is a phase, another is a neutral, and third one is a ground. Second is a 3-phase 3-wire system. In this system, 3 wires are separately connected to the 3 live phases. The phases are labeled as R phase, Y phase and V phase, as I already told you. The power flows between these phases. Then next is 3-phase 4-wire system. In this system, 3 wires are provided for the phase and 4th wire is provided for the neutral. Here you can see in this diagram that these 3 phases are shown, and 4th wire is a neutral wire, and top wire that is above the RYB, that is called basically ground wire. That what is the importance of the ground wire? If some lightning occurs in the environment, that means there will be a lightning stroke. So that due to this lightning, this wire or this pole may be damaged, transformer may be damaged. So what will be the function of this ground wire? All the supply that comes due to the lightning, it will transfer to the ground. Now we have to understand what are the main component of overhead distribution line. So an overhead power line is intended for the transmission of electric power by a bare or covered overhead conductor supported by insulator, generally mounted on cross arm near to the top of poles. The overhead line may be 66 kV, maybe the 33 kV or 11 kV, or the LT line, that is a low transmission voltage. The basic equipment used for the line remains the same. The main equipment required for an overhead line is as follows. So first of all, what do you need to transmit the power in case of the distribution? So first thing that you need, that is called support. And what are those support? That support is nothing but it is a poles, and this pole may be the steel poles, it may be the RCC pole, it may be the wooden poles. And second is cross arm. So what is a cross arm? Cross arm means because you are using, suppose I am taking example of 3-phase 3-wire. That means 3 wire has to place somewhere. So like suppose this one is a pole and you have to transmit 3 wire. So 3 wire R, Y and B. So just you put one arm on pole like this. So this one will be called the cross arm. So on the cross arm you can put the insulator at this point, and this point, and this distancing will be depend on the level of the voltage, how much distance between the 2 wire. So like this, whatever the arm that you are using, that is called cross arm. This cross arm may be of the wood, it may be of the steel, it may be of the galvanized iron. So this is a cross arm. And next is a insulator. As I already told you that you have to use the transmission line, that is a live wire. If you are putting live wire directly on the cross arm, that means current will flow through the this cross arm. If this cross arm is made of the steel, so current will flow through the cross arm to the pole, and suppose anybody, maybe the animal or maybe the human, comes under the contact of the this pole, so that will get the electrical shock. So to avoid this current, leakage current, to transmit from the live wire to the earth or to the pole or to the cross arm, so that means you need some device. And what are those devices? That device is called insulator. And this insulator may be of different type. It may be of the pin type insulator, it may be of the disc type insulator, it may be of the cycle insulator. Then another term is come earthing knob, earthing coil, stand hardware set, and conductors. So conductor is the main important part of the any distribution line, because conductor is the only medium by which electrical power can be transmitted. So what is the function of conductor? Conductor is used to transmit the power, and this conductor may be of the bare conductor, this conductor may be of the ACSR conductor or all aluminum conductor. So we will discuss about the conductor also in this session. And there are lines, accessories are also required if you are going to design the any distribution line. Then guard wire. What is the function of the guard wire? Suppose transmission line is crossing the railway track, or the transmission line is crossing the any road. Suppose this is a one pole and this one is a road, like, and you have to transmit power this point to this point. So electrical wire is going from this pole to this pole. So you have to use the guard wire. What is the function of the guard wire? You can see the in the figure. So guard wire is like different number of wire will be used in case of suppose wire breaks due to the wind velocity or maybe due to the different reason, and this live wire comes under the contact of the any car or any vehicle. That means that particular person may get the electrical shock. Suppose this wire breaks, so it will jump on the guard wire, and this guard wire is connected to the earth wire. So whatever the current is coming in the conductor, it will come on the guard wire, and this current may be transferred to the ground. So it is used for the safety purpose only. Then another device that you require for to design the mechanical distribution line, that is called LT line spacer. So spacer is what, as name is indicating, that means because there is a 3 wire. Suppose you are transmitting 400 kV voltage, and this 3 wire, this one is 1 wire, another is this wire, and this is 3 wire. If all this wire comes in the contact mutually, so what will happen? There will be chances of the leakage current between two conductor. Or suppose this wire is very close, and due to the wind this wire may come in the contact, so there will be fault. it may be touch. It may be touch means what? That is a fault is coming, that means short circuit, and short circuit means what? There is a huge amount of the current will flow through the wire. If huge amount of the current will flow through the wire, that means heat will be developed, so all the system may be damaged. So to overcome such type of problem, you have to maintain the distance between all three conductor if you are using three phase three wire. So for this, to maintain the distance between these three wire, the line spacer are used. Here you can see in the diagram. Now we have to understand the line support. As I already told you, line supports are of the different type, maybe of the wooden pole, RCC pole, and steel poles. The supporting structure for overhead line conductor are various types of the poles and tower called the line support. In general, the line support should have the following properties. What should be the properties? First, it should have high mechanical strength to withstand the weight of the conductor and wind load also. Second important property is what? It should be light in weight without the loss of the mechanical strength. It should be cheap in the cost and it should be economical to maintain. It should have a longer life, easy accessibility of the conductor for the maintenance. The line support used for the transmission and distribution of the electric power are of various type. As I already told you, it is of wooden poles, steel poles, RCC poles, and lattice steel tower. The choice of supporting structure for a particular case depends upon the line span. Suppose voltage, very high voltage are being transmitted with transmission line or with the transmission line and with the distribution line. That means you have to increase the distance between the two wire. That is called line span. And second is a cross sectional area. And third one is line voltage, and cost and local condition also plays very important point when you are going to choose the type of the line support. Here you can see the wooden poles. These are made of the seasoned wood, maybe of the sal or the cheer, and are suitable for the lines of the moderate cross-sectional area and of the relatively shorter spans, and say up to 50 meters only. The main objections to the wooden supports are tendency to the rot below the ground level. Comparatively, it have a smaller life. The life of this wooden poles are very less. It may be of the 20 to 25 years or less than this. It cannot be used for the voltage higher than 20 kV. It is very understood that wooden poles have less mechanical strength. It requires periodical inspection also. So these are the drawback of the wooden poles. Second pole or support that you can use, that is a RCC poles. So concrete poles are the most expensive that wood poles, but cheaper than the tubular poles. Concrete poles are of three types. It may be of the precast cement concrete poles, that is generally called PCC, made of the cement concrete. Second is a reinforced cement concrete poles, that is called RCC, and pre-stressed cement concrete poles, that is called PSCC. Here you can see in the diagram. The reinforced concrete poles have become very popular as line support in recent years. They have greater mechanical strength, longer life, and permit longer spans than the steel poles. Moreover, they give good outlook, require little maintenance, and have good insulating properties. Here you can see in the diagram, there are some holes at the bottom of this poles. So what is the use of these holes? So as you can see in the diagram, poles for the double circuit, and these holes in the poles facilitate the climbing of the poles, and at the same time it will reduce the weight of the poles also. That means it will reduce the weight of the support also. Third support is called steel poles. The steel poles possess greater mechanical strength in comparison to the wooden poles. It have long life, it permits longer spans to be used. Such poles are generally used for the distribution purpose in the cities. This type of support need to be galvanized or painted in order to prolong its life to avoid the rust. The steel poles are of three types. One is steel tubular poles, second one is old and second hand rails and rolled steel, and third is lattice type supports. In practice, wooden, steel and reinforced concrete poles are used for distribution purpose at low voltage, say up to 11 kV, and if you want to use more than 11 kV like 33 kV or 220 kV or 765 kV for the transmission, so for such type of long tower are used. However, for long distance transmission at higher voltage, steel tower are invariably employed. Steel towers have greater mechanical strength in comparison to the rest of the poles. It have longer life. It can withstand most severe climatic condition and permit the use of the longer span. Now, as I already told you what is the cross arm, here you can see in the diagram, the cross arm are provided on a pole to provide mechanical support to multiple conductors while maintaining the recommended separation between them. And this separation depends on the voltage. As voltage level increase, the space between all the conductor will increase. If space between all the conductor will increase, that means length of the cross arm will be increased. If length of the cross arm will be increased, that means cost of the cross arm will increase. So by this means you can understand how the cost increases if you are transmitting or distributing the voltage at high voltage. The shape and length of the cross arm depends upon the desired configuration of the conductor. The following types of the cross arm and brackets are used. First one is what? V cross arm for the tangent location with clamps. Second one is what? Double channel cross arm for tension or cut point location where double poles are used. And third is that is called top clamps. Cross arm of hard wire or the softwood or fiberglass are mostly used. Steel cross arm are stronger and last much longer. MS angle iron, channel iron section are generally used for this purpose. So that means cross arm may be of the wood or it may be of the galvanized steel, and it may be of the different shape. It may be the V cross arm, it may be the double channel cross arm, and top clamps are also used in the cross arm. Now we comes on the insulators. So the overhead line conductor should be supported on the poles or tower in such a way that current from the conductor do not flow the earth through supports. That is, line conductor must probably insulated from the support, as I already told you that this suppose any live wire is coming and just you are putting on the cross arm directly, so this current will come in the contact of the cross arm, so current will start to flow from the live wire to the cross arm to the pole and to the ground. If anybody can come in the contact of the pole, so it may get the electrical shock. This is achieved by securing the line conductor to support with help of the insulator. The insulator provides necessary insulation between the line conductor and support, and so prevent any leakage current from the conductor to the earth. So this is the function of the insulator. Now we have to understand what are the different type of insulator and what the properties should have this type of insulator. In general, the insulator should have the following properties. What are those properties? It should have high mechanical strength in order to withstand conductor load, wind load. It should have high electrical resistance of the insulator material in order to avoid leakage current to the earth. If it doesn't have a high electrical resistance, so it may be the chances that some leakage current will start to flow from live wire to the poles through the insulator. It should have high relative permittivity of the insulator material in order that dielectric strength is high. The insulator material should be non-porous, free from the impurities and cracks, otherwise the permittivity will be lowered. High ratio of the puncture strength to the flashover is also necessary in case of the insulators. Now we can understand the different type of insulator. The successful operation of any overhead line depends to the considerable extent upon the proper selection of the insulator. That means if you are going to transmit the electrical power either in transmission line and distribution line, you have to properly choose the type of the insulator. That means what are the function? That means it will be depend on the different factor, like how much voltage you are going to transmit and what is the length of the conductor. So you should keep a different factor in your mind when you are going to choose the different type of insulator. So different type of insulator are pin type insulator, suspension type insulator, strain insulator and shackle insulator. Now one by one we will discuss about the different type of insulators. So first is pin type insulator. Its name is indicating pin type. That means it must have some pin. So as name suggests, the pin type insulator is secured to the cross arm on the poles. There is a groove on the upper end of the insulator. Like suppose this is a pin type insulator, so this one is a groove and wire will be placed in this groove and it will go through this groove, and this wire may be tightened with help of some wire through this groove in the pin insulator. The conductor passes through the groove and is bound by the annealed wire of the same material as in conductor as shown in the figure. You can see here how the pin insulator are used. Pin type insulator are used for the transmission and distribution of electric power at voltage up to 33 kV. Beyond operating voltage of 33 kV, the pin type insulator become too bulky and hence uneconomical. Here you can see in the diagram that in this pin insulator there is 3 discs are shown here. So what is the function of these 3 discs? Basically it depends on the voltage. So one disc is generally designed for the 11 kV. Like suppose you have to transmit or you have to distribute 33 kV voltage power, that means you needed 3 discs in this type of pin insulator. So beyond the 33 kV, pin type insulator is not economical. Second insulator, that is called suspension type insulator. The cost of pin type insulator increases rapidly as the working voltage is increased. Therefore, this type of insulator is not economical beyond 33 kV. So, for high voltage, that is more than 33 kV, it is usual practice to use suspension type insulator. They consist of a number of porcelain discs connected in series by metal links in the form of the string. The conductor is suspended at the bottom end of the string while the other end of the string is secured to the cross arm of the tower. Each unit or disc is designed for the low voltage, say 11 kV, as I already discussed about this. The number of discs in series would obviously depend upon the working voltage. Like suppose you have to transmit 66 kV. So one disc is designed for the 11 kV and now you have to transmit 66 kV. That means the 66 kV can be divided by the 11 kV. So it is coming 6. That means it must have around more than 6 discs. So you have to transmit 66 kV. That means 7 string of insulator must have in this type of insulator. Another insulator is called strain insulator. Here you can see in the diagram, when there is a dead end of the line or there is a corner or sharp curve, the line is subjected to greater tension. In order to relieve the line of excessive tension, strain insulator are used. For low voltage line, that is less than 11 kV, shackle insulator are generally used as a strain insulator. However, for high voltage transmission line, the strain insulator consists of an assembly of suspension insulator. The disc of the strain insulator are used in the vertical plane. When the tension in the line is exceeding high, as it long river spans, 2 or more string can also be used to transmit this electrical power. Another insulator is shackle insulator. In early days, the shackle insulator were used as a strain insulator, but nowadays they are frequently used for the low voltage distribution line. Here you can see the diagram, how the shackle what are the shape of the insulator, and you can see in the cross sectional diagram how it can be used, to transmit or distribute the electrical power if you are using the shackle insulator. Such insulator can be used either in a horizontal position or in a vertical position. They can be directly fixed to the pole with a bolt or to the cross-sectional arm. This figure shows the shackle insulator fixed to the poles. The conductor in the groove is fixed with a soft binding. That means you can use some wire to bind this type of insulator when you are going the shackle insulator and you are putting on the cross arm. Next is a spool insulator. Given below are the typical specs of the insulator. The given type reference is from the manufacturer and it may vary on the size. Last and next is coming strain insulator, or it is also called gauge strain insulator. Strain insulator of egg type porcelain are used for the insulating stay wire, guard wire, wherever it is not proposed to the earth them. So here you can see the stray insulator. It is shape of the egg and two wire are placed. There is two holes in that particular insulator. So one wire will be go through one pole in one hole and another wire go in second hole. So it is used to join two wire. You can understand the function of the stray insulator. Next is staying arrangement. Guides of the standard steel wire are used on all terminals, angle and other such poles where the conductor have tendency to pull the pole away from its true vertical position. Here you can see in the figure how the staying arrangement are done. The guides are fastened to the poles near the load center point with help of the pole clamps. The other end of the stay is secured to a stay rod embedded in the ground. The stay rod should be located as far away as practically possible. Now you have to understand what is the function of the earthing knob. The earthing knob is used for the supporting the neutral cum earth wire, used for the earthing of metal parts of the supporting structure of load lines, that is 400/230 voltage line. The knob is generally made of the cast iron having a shape of 52 into 42 mm and its electrical resistance is not to exceed 200 mega ohms. Moreover, the breaking strength at the neck of the knob is not to be less than 11,500 kg when force is applied. Here you can see the earthing coil. The two types of earthing arrangement are used. One is with the GI pipe and other is with the GI wire. In case of GI pipe earthing, 40 mm diameter and 2500 mm long pipe is used for the earthing or support and feeding. GI wire is used for the earthing of the lines. Generally 8 SWG wire with 115 turns and 50 mm diameter and 1500 mm length is used for the earthing coil. Now we have to understand the conductor, as conductor is the most important part of any transmission line and distribution line. So with help of the conductor, power is transmitted, and this conductor represents 30 to 50% of the installed cost of the line. So maximum cost of the any distribution line comes that is used for the conductor only. And what are the different type of conductor that is used for the distribution or transmission? It may be of the all aluminum conductor, generally it is said as AAC. And second is all aluminum alloy conductor, AAAC. And next is aluminum conductor steel reinforced are generally used. Here you can see in the third diagram that ACSR means all aluminum conductor steel reinforced. That means in the middle portion of the steel is used. What is the use of this steel? Steel is used to increase the mechanical strength of the conductor. As you know, because the conductivity of aluminum is more in case of the steel. So whatever the current that will be flow through the aluminum only, and this steel will play to support the mechanical strength. Why it is placed in the middle? Because in the case of the AC supply, it is a tendency to the flow of the current to the outer surface of the conductor. This type of effect is called skin effect. So here you can understand that in the middle portion of the conductor, current doesn't flow, so that middle part can be used, can be replaced from the steel, which will support the conductor and which will increase the mechanical strength of the conductor. Now we have to understand what are the feeder. In electrical power distribution, feeder is voltage power line transferring power from a distribution substation to the distribution transformer. In an electrical wiring circuit in a building, the feeder is a wire or line that carries power from a transformer or switchgear to a distribution panel. What are the transformer and what are the switchgear? It will be discussed in the next lecture. And now we have to understand what are the configuration of the feeder. Feeder are connected in a configuration which depends on the types of the network required in the distribution system. Three types of network are normally used in the electrical distribution, that is called radial system, loop system or cross loop network. Here you can see the radial in first one, and second is a loop, and third one is a cross loop network. So for the two group there is a two separate wire in case of the radial, and in the loop there is if there is a two groups, so there is a two wire are used. That means it can be supplied from the two medium, and in the cross loop network multiple loop will be used for the to distributing the power. Here you can understand the comparison of the all these three type of the network configuration. First is a radial, second is a distribution, and third is a cross loop network. So what happens in the radial distribution system? Only single path to each group of the customer. In case of distribution system, double path to the each group of the customer, and in cross loop network, multiple path to each group of the customer are used. Radial distribution system is lowest construction cost, and distribution have a medium cost system, and the cross loop network system have highest cost system. And in case of the radial, it is simple to plan, to design and operate. In case of distribution, some moderate, simple to plan, design. That means it is little complicated to the radial distribution system, but in case of the cross loop network distribution, it is very complex. And radial distribution system is used in the rural area, and distribution system is used in the urban area, and cross loop network distribution system are used in the urban area. So in this lecture we have discussed about the different configuration of the power system and different types of the voltage level, what is the transmitting voltage, what is the generating voltage, and what are the distance voltage. And we have understood how the design of the any distribution system is done, what are the different things are required to transmit the distribution. That means you need a poles, you need a cross arm, you need different insulator. All these have been discussed in this lecture. In the next lecture we will discuss about the very important part of the any transmission system or distribution, that is called transformer. Thank you very much. If you have any queries, you can write the mail at the sanjay.agrawal@igno.ac.in.